Imagine two people. Same city, same age, same starting salary. 10 years later, one is stressed about rent and the other just bought their second property. What happened? It wasn't luck. It wasn't connections. It wasn't even intelligence. It was one thing. They understood the levels. And today on Vance Finance, we're going to walk through every single level of financial power, from the very bottom where most people are stuck, all the way to the top where money works for you while you sleep. Stay with me, because wherever you are right now, this video is going to show you exactly where to go next. Most people spend their entire lives at level 1 without even realizing it. Level 1 is what we call the survival zone. You're making money, sure, but every single dollar that comes in has already been spent before it even arrives. Paycheck hits your account on Friday. By Monday, it's already gone. Rent, groceries, gas, maybe a subscription or two you forgot you had. There's no breathing room. There's no buffer. One unexpected car repair, one medical bill, one missed shift, and the whole system collapses. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Studies show that nearly 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now. Not because they're lazy, not because they're stupid, but because nobody ever taught them the rules of this game. And here's the brutal truth about level 1. The longer you stay here, the harder it becomes to leave. Stress about money affects your sleep, your decisions, your relationships. You start making short-term choices because short-term is all you can see. You buy the thing that makes you feel better today because tomorrow feels too uncertain to plan for. But here's what we know at Vance Finance. Awareness is the first exit door. The moment you recognize you're in the survival zone, you have already taken the most important step. You've named the enemy, and now we can fight it. The way out of level 1 isn't about making more money, at least not yet. It's about creating a gap, a small intentional gap between what comes in and what goes out. Even $20 a month, even 10, because that gap, no matter how tiny, is the seed of every level that comes after this. If you're finding this breakdown helpful, do yourself a favor right now, hit that like button and subscribe to Vance Finance, because we break down money in a way that actually makes sense for real people in the real world. New videos drop every week and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Level 2 is where things start to shift, and it feels different the moment you arrive. We call this the stability zone. You've built a small cushion. Maybe it's a few $100s in savings. Maybe it's a tiny emergency fund just sitting there, doing nothing flashy but doing something incredibly powerful. It's giving you options. When something breaks, you don't panic. When an unexpected bill shows up, you don't spiral. That psychological shift is enormous. People underestimate how much mental energy is drained by financial instability. When you're not constantly in crisis mode, your brain literally functions better. You think more clearly. You plan more effectively. You start to see opportunities you were too stressed to notice before. Getting to level 2 requires one habit above everything else: intentional saving. Not saving what's left over, because there's never anything left over. Intentional saving means you decide the amount first, and you move it before you spend anything else. 10% is the classic rule, but honestly, start with whatever you can. 3%, 5%. The habit matters more than the amount in the beginning. You're training your brain to treat saving as non-negotiable, the same way rent is non-negotiable. Nobody says, "I'll pay rent if there's anything left." You pay rent first. Savings should work the same way. Now let's talk about level 3, because this is where the majority of people who are doing okay actually get stuck for decades. Level 3 is the comfort zone, and the name sounds nice, right? Comfortable, safe. But comfort in finances is one of the most dangerous places you can live long-term. At level 3, you have a stable income. You have some savings. You're paying your bills on time. Life looks fine from the outside. But nothing is growing. Nothing is compounding. Nothing is working while you sleep. You're still trading time for money every single day, and the moment you stop working, the income stops too. The comfort zone feels like winning because you've escaped the stress of level 1 and level 2. But it's actually a slow, invisible trap. Because while you're comfortable, inflation is quietly eating your savings. While you're comfortable, other people are building assets. While you're comfortable, time, the most powerful force in wealth building, is passing. The escape from level 3 requires a mindset shift that most people resist because it feels risky. You have to start thinking like an owner, not just an earner. Earners trade hours for dollars. Owners build things that generate dollars without their constant presence. And no, this doesn't mean you need to quit your job tomorrow or start some complicated business. It starts with something much simpler: investing. When you put money into assets, you become a partial owner of something that can grow. Index funds, ETFs, real estate, a small side business, these are all forms of ownership. And ownership is how you exit the comfort zone without blowing up the stability you've already built. At Vance Finance, we always say this: the goal isn't to get rich quick. The goal is to build a system that gets richer slowly and surely, until one day you wake up and realize the system is bigger than your paycheck ever was. That's the turning point. That's when everything changes. And level 4 is exactly where that turning point lives. We call level 4 the growth zone. This is where intentional investing becomes a real habit. You're not just saving money anymore. You're deploying it. Every dollar you don't spend is a dollar you're sending out into the world to work on your behalf. Your 401k is growing. Your index fund is compounding. Maybe you've started a Roth IRA. Maybe you've bought your first small piece of real estate. The numbers are still modest, but the direction is undeniable, up and to the right. What makes level 4 so powerful is the concept of compound interest. And if you've heard about it before, hear it again, because most people nod at this concept without truly feeling it. If you invest $500 a month starting at age 25, with a reasonable average return of 8% per year, by age 65, you'll have over $1.7 million. The same $500 a month starting at age 35? Just under $750,000. Same amount invested. Same return. A 10-year difference. That's not a small gap. That's over $1 million sitting on the table just because someone waited a decade to start. Time is not neutral in finance. Every single year you wait costs you more than the year before it. But the growth zone isn't just about investing, it's also about income expansion. Because here's the math nobody talks about openly. There is a ceiling to how much you can save, but there is no ceiling on how much you can earn. If you're spending aggressively on cutting expenses, you can only go so far before you're eating rice and turning off the heat. But your income? That ceiling is whatever you decide it is. Level 4 people understand this. They're not just clipping coupons, they're developing skills, building side income streams, asking for promotions, starting small projects that generate extra cash. Every extra dollar of income that gets invested instead of spent accelerates the compounding engine that's already running. This is also the level where financial education becomes addictive in the best way. Once you see your money actually growing, once you check your investment account and the number is higher than what you put in, something clicks. You want to learn more. You start reading. You start watching channels like Vance Finance not because you have to, but because you genuinely want to understand how to make the machine run faster. And that curiosity, that hunger to learn, is one of the clearest signs that you are no longer thinking like someone who is just surviving. You are thinking like someone who is building. Level 5 is where most people stop believing the map applies to them. They'll watch videos like this one. They'll nod along. They'll think, that's great for other people, and then they'll close the app and go back to their routine. But level 5 is real. People reach it every single day. Not celebrities. Not tech billionaires. Regular people who stayed consistent long enough for the math to do its job. We call level 5 the freedom zone. And freedom here doesn't mean private jets and yacht parties. It means something far more valuable than that. It means your monthly expenses are covered by your investments and passive income streams, not by your labor. It means you work because you want to, not because you have to. It means you wake up on a Monday morning and the first thought in your head is not, I have to go in today. The first thought is, what do I actually want to do today? That is a level of peace that money can't fully describe, but absolutely can create. Getting to the freedom zone requires one number that most people have never calculated, your financial independence number. It's simpler than it sounds. Take your monthly expenses, multiply them by 12 to get your annual cost of living, then multiply that number by 25. That final number is your target. The amount of invested assets you need so that a safe withdrawal rate of 4% covers your lifestyle indefinitely without ever touching the principal. If you spend $3,000 a month, your annual expenses are $36,000, and your financial independence number is $900,000. Under $1 million. Absolutely achievable for someone who starts early and stays consistent. This isn't a fantasy, this is arithmetic. Advanced Finance exists to make sure you have every tool you need to run these numbers for your own life and build a real plan around them. Level 6 is rarefied air, and we're going to talk about it honestly without making it feel like it's only for a chosen few. Level 6 is what we call the legacy zone. At this level, you're not just financially free, you're financially generational. Your wealth is structured to outlive you. You have estate planning in place. You're thinking about what your children or grandchildren will inherit. You're funding causes you believe in. You're investing in other people's businesses and ideas. You're sitting on boards. You're building things that have your fingerprint on them long after you're gone. Legacy isn't about ego. The deepest version of legacy is about impact. It's about saying, because I was here, these people had a better shot. That's a goal worth building toward no matter what level you're on right now. Here is the most important thing to understand about all 6 levels. They are not separated by talent. They are not separated by luck or family background or which city you grew up in. They are separated by decisions made consistently over time. Every level up requires you to make a slightly different set of decisions than you're making right now. Level 1 asks you to create a gap. Level 2 asks you to protect it. Level 3 asks you to invest it. Level 4 asks you to grow it aggressively. Level 5 asks you to structure it for freedom. Level 6 asks you to design it for legacy. None of these steps require a miracle. Every single one of them requires a decision. So here is what we want you to do right now, today, not someday. Figure out which level you're on. Be honest with yourself. There's no shame in any of them. Every single person who is at level 5 was once at level 1. Then write down one decision, just one, that belongs to the next level up. One habit, one account to open, one skill to develop, one conversation to have with yourself about where your money is actually going. Because that one decision, made today and repeated tomorrow and repeated again next week, is the entire game. That is how levels are climbed, not in dramatic leaps, but in quiet, stubborn, daily choices that compound just like interest does. Advanced Finance, we genuinely believe that financial freedom is not a privilege reserved for the few. It is a skill set available to anyone willing to learn it and apply it. That's why we make these videos. That's why we break down complex money concepts into language that actually lands. And that's why this community keeps growing, because real people are using this information and real lives are changing because of it. If this video gave you something valuable today, here's how you can help us reach more people who need it. Drop a comment below and tell us which level you're currently on and which level you're aiming for next. Seriously, take 30 seconds and write it down. Not just for us, but for yourself. There is something powerful about stating your financial goal out loud, even in a comment section. And if you know someone who is stuck in the survival zone or coasting in the comfort zone, share this video with them right now. One share could genuinely change the direction of someone's financial life. Don't underestimate that. We'll see you in the next one.